Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sit Down Podcast. As you can see, the seats behind me are empty, which means I'm by myself. Joel unfortunately had a family emergency. He won't be able to make it tonight, but I will do everything in my power to keep it as entertaining as possible, which is going to be a pretty easy task. If you know who my guests are, they are avid listeners, or I'm going to find out, listeners or viewers of the show, and we keep running into them at pretty much any music event we go to. Their names, we've mentioned them quite a few times on the show, Betty Joe and Diedrich Buck, and they are super fans, I would call them. And I'm just here going to be catching up with them, where they've been, which shows they've been to, how it all started, if they play any music themselves, I don't even know. So it's going to be interesting. Stay tuned. The Sit Down Podcast is brought to you by Funky Moose Records. We sell new and used vinyl records, inner and outer sleeves, cleaning supplies, turntables, speakers, but we also support some of the artists that we've had on this show by helping them sell their merchandise. So check out funkymooserecords.ca, head over to the merch section, and pick a t-shirt or two. If you use the discount code SITDOWN10, you'll get 10% off your entire order. That is funkymooserecords.ca and SITDOWN10 for 10% off.
And
You're fired.
My name is Diedrich. This is Betty Joe. We're just really big fans of music, and this is episode 139 of the Sit Down Podcast.
Welcome to episode 139 of the Sit Down Podcast.
Well, thank you.
We keep talking about you, and it's only fair to have you on the show.
You talk about her a lot. I'm the background guy. It's okay that you don't talk about me. I'm not offended.
Okay, good. She has her mouth open a little bit more than you do, I think.
Just a lot.
Yeah.
I'm the mouthpiece on mine. I know that.
Yeah. It's all good. And we keep running into you at shows. It doesn't really matter where we go.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there they are. Yeah.
We try.
So let's go all the way back to whenever you guys started going to shows.
That would have been, the first one would have been what? On the Wolf at the Pump
Yes.
in Regina.
The Pump Roadhouse in Regina. That was June of
2017.
2017. The Pump doesn't even exist anymore, but Whale and the Wolf was playing, so we had gotten to be a little bit of fans of their music because 104.9 The Wolf here in Regina was playing them. So when we found out they were playing, I told Betty Joe, hey, where these guys are playing here, and I know she's a fan of live music and has been her whole life. Me, not so much. I was just kind of indifferent to live music, but she wanted to go. It seemed like a good idea, so we got tickets to the Pump, and we went to see them. And that show led us pretty much directly into the past 4.5, almost 5 years now of live music anywhere we can find it.
So in other words, I told you so?
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't get the live music thing because you'd only ever been to the big shows.
Yes, I would go to concerts. I went to Edge Fest up in Saskatoon back in '97, I think it was. And I'd seen shows at the Center of the Arts and Brand Center and that sort of thing, and that was live music. But I'd never been to smaller venues and bars and stuff to see local bands.
And that's what I love.
How long have you been together?
20 years?
Yeah, we've been married 20 years.
So, Diedrich, what took you so long?
I don't know.
He didn't listen to his wife.
Yeah, exactly. Even back,
That's what happens.
even back when we were living in Ontario, I was working for a restaurant that had a bar in the basement, and they would have live music there. And I never really gave it much thought. I never, it was no big deal to me. So,
Yeah.
it just took, I guess, the right combination of timing and music to get me interested in going out.
Okay, so that's how that started. How did that evolve into
Well,
seeing you at every show?
from that show, we saw with Whale and the Wolf, we saw New Era, and
Okay.
then we liked them. We thought really good band, enjoyed their set. Was it after that they did the Telemiracle?
They did Tell a Miracle, which had the Hour Hand.
Yes.
Their second show
Yeah.
ever.
So
Right.
we went and saw, because New Era was doing this Telemiracle Rocks fundraiser. We thought it's a good cause. We know they're good music. So from there, we saw the Hour Hand,
Portnoy,
Small City Blues. From Portnoy, because Portnoy is mostly the same artists from Deaf Idols, so we learned of the Deaf Idols that way.
Brain Dead Romeo, Voodoo Hound.
Yeah, well, Angus and Andrew and those guys, they're in
And
several bands. You talked to them a couple weeks ago, so they're quite involved in the music scene themselves. But yeah, it became, as we've said before, we see a band we like, we go to one of their shows, we meet another band we like, we can go to one of their shows. Again, Whale and the Wolf played up in Saskatoon, where League of Wolves was opening. They were playing with One Bad Son, weren't they?
Yes.
So we went to see One Bad Son with Whale and the Wolf and League of Wolves. Absolutely loved League of Wolves. Picked up both of their albums that they had at the time. Listened to them all the way through several times. Got into meeting up with them a few times at other shows. That's where we saw the Proud Sons, I think, is another band. I'm going to reference back there because that's all of our ticket stubs and memorabilia from the different shows that we've been to.
For those only listening, Diedrich was pointing at two
picture frames,
picture frames, filled with ticket stubs and posters. I see a lot of Moosefest.
There's a lot of pictures or ticket stubs. We've got a few cards, guitar picks. Some of those are just online, you buy the tickets online. So we just print out the QR code and that sort of thing, just as a physical copy of the ticket. But we, for a long stretch there, we were looking for shows specifically to get physical tickets, because you can always buy tickets online, but you don't always get a physical ticket to go with it.
And I completely stole the Moosefest sign off from my reserved camping site this year. The background.
We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was not a doubt in my mind that was going to happen the minute I saw it.
So that was actually the first time we met, right? Because we had at the first Moosefest we had League of Wolves, and that's why you came to Moosefest.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely.
That was their first show back after the shutdown, right?
Yep. And then we met 7 Mile Sun, so now we're big fans of theirs.
Yeah, those guys are really good. Always enjoy them.
Yeah. So you were at Moosefest this year.
Yeah.
And that's where you saw the Radiant.
Yes.
And they are fabulous.
Right.
We had seen the Radiant with Dead Levy.
Yes, but was that before or after? That was after, wasn't it?
Ha!
Mark.
That's exactly what happens to us. It's
Yeah.
like, which show was that again?
Yeah. It's been a lot, yeah. But no, I think
Yeah.
you're right. I think Dead Levy had them here in the revival here in Regina.
Oh yeah, we were there.
Yes, you were there.
Yep.
And
Yep.
was
That
that
was-
before or after Moose Fest?
Before Moose Fest.
That was before Moose Fest. Okay.
Yep.
So we had seen the Radiant prior to Moose Fest. Okay.
Right. Yep. So which bands at Moose Fest were new to you?
Northern Royals
Okay.
and
Trader's Gate.
Trader's Gate.
Right.
Because then there was the Hour Hand, Weapons, Radiant,
Exomerta.
Exomerita. Yeah, we have seen it. We saw Exomerita again with League of Wolves here in Regina.
Yep.
Um,
And then King for a Day.
okay, no, we hadn't seen King for a
King
Day
Ford-
before.
Thank you. I was trying to pull their name out
Yeah.
and couldn't. So thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so yeah, those would be So I guess we knew at least half of the ones that were going to be there. So
What was the last show you've seen?
where were we just at?
Where was that? Our Head? I can't remember. I really can't. There's been so many shows, they just all kind of blend.
Yeah.
Because we've got I guess Motley Crue. We were up in Edmonton.
Yeah.
We
That
went
was
to
one of
their.
the big shows.
That was the last. Did we see anything since then?
Don't think so. Maybe. But
I mean, we still go out to big stadium tours too. Like we've been to Leonard Skinner. We've been to
Garth Brooks, Leonard Skinner, Eagles.
Eagles,
That was my bucket list. It was Eagles.
Yeah. So yeah, we have more than just the locals. We do enjoy some of the bigger ones too.
Was the Eagles in Saskatoon?
That was here in Regina a couple years back.
Yeah.
Back in 2018
I
or
see.
19.
Yeah, we didn't make the trip up to Saskatoon when they were there just a couple months ago. So
Yeah. And Betty Joe, when was the last time you saw Bush?
That was back in 27. Was it? No, 2019. That was in Edmonton in 2019. Whale and Wolf opened for them too. So
yeah, I was at their K days.
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, because I know you're a big fan of Bush.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of Bush. Huge.
How many times have you seen them?
Just the twice, but the first time I ever saw them was very memorable. You've seen my profile picture. You know all
Your
that.
profile picture on Facebook. Yeah. Nose to nose with Gavin, right?
I had Gavin sweat on my forehead. Yes, I did. Quite literally.
Nice.
I wasn't there. She was out with one of her girlfriends. I heard about it. It was fine. I knew she'd be really excited.
I believe your exact words were, "Oh my God, I bet she about died."
Yeah.
And did she?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't. I freaked out pretty hard.
Yeah, the expression on her face was, yeah.
I'm dead. I'm dying. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's funny because we keep talking about the big name artists, and when Joel, so when we did the episode with Theory of a Dead Man, I mean, they're not a small, local band,
No.
and before we started that show, Joel told me that he was a little nervous to meet them, and I'm like, yeah, but they probably just do their groceries at Safeway. They're just people, right?
Fair enough.
So that's always, and I I used to do a little. I dabbled in radio, local radio back home, and I always put it in my own head that when I'm on air, nobody listens anyway. So who cares? That's kind of how I'm trying to normalize everything. So meeting a big name artist would be cool, but I don't think it would faze me too much.
I don't know if I'd be as starstruck either. like you said,
Yeah.
they're just people. There
Yeah.
will be a little bit like, this is a really cool moment, but
Oh yeah, for
at
sure.
the same time, you know, it's just having a conversation. There's actually a funny story on that one. A friend of mine, it's not my story, it's a friend of mine. He was in the Regina airport for a business trip, and he struck up a conversation with this seemingly normal random guy. I don't remember what the conversation was about or what started it, but they were just sitting there talking and chatting. And every once in a while, someone would come up to this other guy and ask for an autograph or ask for a picture, or be kind of like fans, kind of fangirly and bouncy, and he would just kind of brush it off and do whatever, take the picture and everything, and they would go back to having the conversation and chatting. And everything was well. They parted ways, said see you later, went on their respective trips. And a couple weeks later, we were sitting around talking, and my friend asked, "Hey, by the way, was there anything like big happening in town a little while ago?" Because I was talking to this guy, and he had these people coming up and all this, and Betty Joe put it together.
And I looked at him. I was like, you just met Bret Michaels from Poison and didn't realize it. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
I was like, because if you realized who it was, you could have gotten him, his autograph. But no.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
random dude, normal guy, sitting there having a conversation. No idea in the world that he's literally a world famous musician.
So he didn't put it.
Rock
He didn't put
band.
it together like I should probably ask who this guy is because all these people come and ask for a autograph.
It never occurred to him. It was just,
Huh.
he figured he was somebody. Like, obviously, he was somebody
Yeah.
famous. But that's just the kind of person my friend is. He would just be like, okay.
Yeah.
That
Cool.
that level, chill, casual conversation.
Yeah.
I still haven't forgiven him for that.
So okay, 2017 till now. What was the most exciting show, big or small?
Oh, that is a really good question.
Oh, I guess.
You don't have to say Moose Fest, but yeah.
Oh, you took him on. We'll go with Moose Fest just for you.
Yeah. No.
I guess when, the first Moose Fest was a big deal because it did sort of restart everything for us.
Right.
There was that gap where, there was virtually nothing happening, and everybody felt that. It was community wide. Everyone was locked down. Everyone was isolated. So Moose Fest was a big deal because it was like that glimmer of the light at the end of the tunnel. It was the first time
Right.
we could really get together and enjoy a crowd, and from there we knew things were just going to get better.
Yeah, because I think Moose Fest was our first show back after the pandemic.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a lot of. It was because there was not much option before that.
Yeah.
And
then
Yeah.
you had leagues, so I mean that
that
was the topper.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. We
that
we
one
were
was
just
significant. Yeah.
yeah we just lucked out with the everything opening up and us together with Chesterfest. We were just in that window of everything was lifted. We could organize something. Well, not everything was lifted because we still had because it was indoors. We had a maximum capacity of 150 or 200, whatever it was.
And as
So-
I recall, I was the first ticket.
Yeah, and guess what? This year, guess who bought the first ticket?
Probably not me.
Yep.
Was it
Really?
us again?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
I didn't know till just now.
I didn't expect that.
So I'll let you know when the tickets go on sale for next year.
We'll see if we can keep the streak going.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna be first in line for next year. You know that.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah. We have your tickets reserved already.
Yeah.
Damn right you do.
Um, but no,
So, but aside from Moose Fest,
uh, I think seeing Whale and the Wolf opening for One Bad Son, even just recently here, was a big deal for them because they had that was at the Sastel Center, and it was the first
yep,
time they had ever played the Sastel Center.
And they sold it
So
out.
it was a sold out show. Just to be there for that for them,
yep,
that was big for them, and we got to enjoy most of that.
Because, I mean, yeah, they're based out of Edmonton now, but most of them are Saskatoon boys, so that's a hometown
yep,
show for them,
Yeah,
which was just, that
yep,
was really cool, you're right.
um,
yeah,
but I you know I've enjoyed a lot of the smaller ones. Pretty much any time I get to see Small City Blues, I've always enjoyed seeing those guys. So, yeah, it is really hard to pick just one.
it is, and especially as if um, some of your favorite bands play together
Yeah,
in one way or another. Yeah,
I think
yeah. That Saskatoon show. I was in Saskatoon. I was just at a different venue.
yes, the that was I think the Hour Hand and the Radiant playing at the Capitol.
Yep.
Yes, so yeah, we were
Yeah.
kind of torn too because we were like, I don't know where do we go? We were in town too, but
Yeah. Yeah.
And you
Well,
know,
that was also a good show.
I imagine it was.
and you know us, we don't miss the hour hand very often, so.
Yeah,
No, no. When you go see all of these shows, I mean, usually the set lists are fairly the same. Um, do you find that it? This is not the right wording, but does it become repetitive? The same thing, same show every time, or is it like, yes, this is what I came to see?
I, I don't think it's repetitive. Yeah, it's the same song, but because every show's so different, every performance is different. Even if it's the same show, you're not getting the same show. So
Yeah.
I like it because then I know the songs, I know the lyrics. It kind of works out.
Yeah. You sing along.
and a lot of the stuff that they're playing now are things that it may not have been released yet. So you look forward to seeing those songs performed because you can't just drop the CD or click on the MP3 or flip over to your streaming service to hear it again. There's several bands who have songs that we want copies of, but they haven't released them yet. So
Yeah.
yes, you look forward to, so you do anticipate certain songs being on the set list. So it's not so much repetitive as something to look forward to.
No, I agree. I've seen the Radiant a few times now, and their sets. I mean, Michaela is, let's call her extravagant. So I mean, the whole band makes it a show, no matter where they are, and yeah, like you said, the songs are recognizable, but doesn't mean they're exactly the same. I remember going to a show with my dad once, and it was theater seating, so my dad and I were sitting side by side, and we were enjoying the show, and all of a sudden I turned to my dad and was like, we could have stayed home. And he kind of looked at me bewildered, like, what? Why are you saying that? And I was like, they sound exactly like on the CD. So I was like, that's cool that you can do that, sounding exactly like the recording, but is that's not why I'm here to see a live show. He agreed with me, but it was still a good show. But it's like, I would rather go see a live show where it's, not the same thing twice.
Yeah.
Funny story though, because you said that you went to a show with your dad. My first concert, I went to a concert with my dad because I was out of town and I was
Okay.
only 13. Now,
Yeah.
you've got to understand here, Merck. I am the youngest child of a much older generation. My dad is a
Okay.
World War II veteran.
Okay.
So we went to Skid Row and Pantera. You can just imagine how much he enjoyed this show.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was hysterical. Diedrich only got to meet my dad a couple times
Yeah.
before, yeah. But he'll tell you, my dad's was pretty straight laced.
Yeah. Very military. Very very kind. He seemed like a very kind but stern. And I cannot imagine the man I met standing in a sea of teenagers and young adults screaming to Skid Row and Pantera and having anything even close to a good time. Especially with his 13-year-old daughter.
I didn't live that
That is
for a
awesome.
long time. But that just reminded me of, like I said, that my first concert. Because that, like I said.
Vastly different than the experience you had.
Yeah.
Did he ever go to a show with you again?
Mm-hmm. Actually, yeah, he took my friend and I at 16, we went to see Bon Jovi in, and yeah, he went. He actually liked that one.
I think Bon Jovi would be a much more close to his speed. Like, he was probably like classical waltz kind of music.
Oh, no, he was
country, but still, Bon Jovi is one that I could see him at least sitting through and not, grinding his teeth and ready to fight his way out.
Yeah, that's pretty much what, yeah.
Oh, poor guy.
Poor guy, but such good memories.
So did you guys grow up in a musical family, or is that just something that happened?
My siblings were always listening to music. Like I said, I grew up with my older siblings were all raised in the 70s, so on Skinner, on Bad Company, on Eagles. So I always had that music, and my parents were always listening to the old school country music, Patsy Cline, and that, Loretta Lynn, and
Yep.
it just escaped me. There was another one that, Marty Robbins, all that. So, I mean, there was music always on at our house, it seemed like.
And my dad would be of the similar generation to her siblings. So I listened to Eagles, Doctor Hook, Creedence Clearwater Revival. CCR was one of my dad's favorites. What was it? Mom and Dad, what do they always say about their first?
That was
their first date.
April Wine.
April Wine. Yeah, my mom and dad's first date was going to an April Wine concert. So that's the type of music that I grew up listening to. When my dad was driving around or had his music on the radio. I mean, he's gotten into more country and other stuff now as he's older, but growing up, that was the generation of music that I also listened to. Just from whatever my parents were playing.
Sorry for the interruption, you guys. I just wanted to tell you guys about Muse Canada. They're a new arts and entertainment media connection and support network. Skip the algorithms of social media and connect with other entertainment professionals across Canada. Sign up today for $5 a month or use the promo code FunkyMoose2021 for 10% off. That is FUNKYMOOSE 2021 for 10% off. Back to the show.
Do you play music yourself?
No.
Not a bit. No. Not a bit.
No. We I played tuba in the high school or in the elementary school band for a couple of years, but that was the closest thing I came to music inclined at all. I was more visual arts than instrumental music, so I was never interested in really performing music. But I always listened to music. Like my interest in music ranged all over the gambit. Growing up, Gowan was one of my biggest. I was huge fan of Gowan. And Bruce Springsteen and a lot of those 80s, 90s early music. 90s wise, I mean, you listen to basically the normal stuff, some grunge. I don't know.
Now, we did just get to see Gowan not long ago, too.
Yes, I did get to see Gowan, one of my bucket lists. He was at the Casino Regina just a few months ago. And that was a highlight for me. That was a bucket
Okay.
list for me. I have been a Gowan fan since the late '80s, and that was a really good show for me. That was very nostalgic. It was great to be in a crowd of people just as energetic as I was for the music, and I was surprised at, like, some of the younger, like, you know, early 20s people who were out there. I
Oh,
expected it to be a bunch of 30 plus 40, 50 year olds in the crowd, but no, it was
yeah.
it was a lot of fun. That one, that was a big one for me. But yeah, I did listen to music a fair bit, but I was never you know making my own music. So
Yeah, yeah. And how you have kids, right?
we do, yes, two.
Do they do anything with music?
Our youngest has taken guitar lessons, and he is doing clarinet in band right now. So,
Yeah,
but the oldest listens to music, but never really had that
yeah,
interest.
and they're, what does he call it? Um,
Folk punk.
yeah, like a folk punk, I think is what the genre that he likes right now.
Okay.
He listens to a lot of, like, British punk,
Yeah, yeah.
new British punk, not like Clash or
Sex Pistols.
Sex
Yeah.
Pistols, but like what they so they they're I don't want to say I'm the old man questioning modern music, but some of the things that he enjoys I can respect as music, but is not my thing.
I've liked some of it. So.
And I mean, I'm not saying
That's
it's all bad. There has been some catchy stuff, but it has a completely different meaning to them, in his generation, which is fine. That's I'm sure
yeah,
the same thing our parents said when they heard what we were listening to. So it's just the
yeah.
next generation experiencing
But
it
they
from the
also-
other side. So.
But they also still listen to a lot of the same stuff that we do because they grew up with it.
Yes,
Yeah.
our youngest is a huge fan of Whale and the Wolf. We've brought him to any of the all ages shows that they're playing at. He comes with us because he's a big fan. Ryan and Brandon and Lucas and Joel and Keenan, they love him. They're always happy to see him there. It's always a great time. So those guys are really good to us and good to him.
They better be good to him. He sold merch for them.
Yes, one of the shows when he was a few years younger. One of the shows that we were at here at the Exchange in Regina, they stole our son to have him sit at their merch table, and he was conning people into buying merch because he was this cute little kid selling at the table. And I think Dead Levy was also there that night, and they were trying to bribe him to come over to their table so he could sell merch for them because they were, he was getting all the attention and getting people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they've really, the guys from Whale and the Wolf have really taken care of us and really,
Yeah.
we've become good friends with them as well. So
Yeah.
it's great that they do that for us and our son and stuff. So
Yeah, it was really cute. Really, really cute.
Do bands recognize you
Oh, yeah.
often?
yeah, yeah.
And the ones that don't, you give the finger? No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, we've been trying to catch up to a few that we haven't met yet or haven't seen yet. So
Right.
and usually when they're approachable and they're sitting around, we do try to introduce and say, hey, just be casual. Love the show. It was great. We had a good time. Thanks for playing, and get a bit of a rapport, a bit of conversation. Most of that carries over into online because you only have so much time at a live show. You can't be
Yep.
hassling them while they're tearing down the set or that sort of thing. But a lot of it has been carried over into mostly her online. I don't have much of a social media presence. I'm like Facebook and like that's about it.
And you've seen how I treat some of our bands.
Yeah. So
I like to tease a bit.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we are trying to introduce ourselves and get to know more bands as we meet them as well. So
Yeah, I think that's also the nice thing about those smaller shows. You actually get to meet them
Yeah.
instead of, when you go to a big show, it's like, well, there's someone on stage. Great show, but now we go home.
And there's like a
And
setback and a fence, and you can't do anything. They come on and
yep,
off, and you never see them. Whereas at
yep,
smaller venues, they're standing shoulder to shoulder with you watching the next band,
yeah,
right? Like we've
yep,
definitely had that where we've sat or stood in the crowd with either the next band or the previous band watching the show. And that's become the biggest appeal. Like the music is great, but the community and the atmosphere. That's what I didn't understand when I wasn't interested in live music
hmm
is the atmosphere. And that's really been the big draw for us.
Again, I say I told you so.
Yes.
I'm never going to let you live that down.
I
Sorry.
know.
you like that phrase, I think.
Yes.
Just a lot. It
Yeah,
happens when you've been married as long as we have.
Yeah.
Like, listen to your wife once in a while. She kind of knows what she's talking about. Yeah. Happens once in a great while.
you just smile and nod,
Smile
smile
and
and nod.
nod.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yes, dear. That was one of the first phrases my wife's uncle. Okay, step back. My wife and I got married in Holland, and a handful of her family came to Holland for the wedding. And the night before, or 2 nights before, whatever, we went bowling with all the guys, all the uncles, my uncles, whatever. We went bowling, and the two Canadian uncles, they were in agreement that we need to teach Mark that the key phrase to a good marriage is "yes, dear." How long have you been married?
20 years?
Yeah,
21 years?
it'll be 21 in March.
Yeah.
Actually, a really funny story with our anniversary is that was the last show was on our anniversary with Small City Blues right before the world shut down.
Was that 2020?
Yep.
Yeah, so the night of our anniversary, well, we found out that Small City Blues and
Magnetic.
the Deaf Idols, Magnetic, Small City Blues, and who was the fourth band? Ragged Edge. So those four were playing the night of our anniversary. So we're like, Deaf Idols, Small City Blues, we're there. So we got there, we saw that show, and like almost immediately after that, it was like, show's canceled, world's rolling up the door, shutting everything down. So we're like, well, I'm glad we got that one in. That was a significant.
Yeah.
So
Happy anniversary.
yeah,
Jeez.
exactly. That was a good one to be at because it ended up being the last one until Moose Fest.
Oh. Oh, so you went, what, a year and a half without?
Yeah, well, about 18 months. That's what Dylan
Yep.
said when they were on stage. Is that it had been almost 18 months since they performed. So that's about
Yep.
probably what a lot of bands were feeling. Some of them may
Yep.
have been able to squeeze a show in there here and there, but I'm sure a lot of bands
Yeah.
can relate to that.
There were a few that went to live streams,
Yeah,
live streaming their show, but everyone agreed it was something for us to do, but it wasn't what we wanted to do,
Yeah.
and it's not the same.
No,
mean-
not at all.
That makes a lot of sense, of course. Yeah, yeah. I remember getting League of Wolves on the show for the first time, and also the only time, I guess. But they were saying that that was the first time for them to be in a room together since, I guess, since the pandemic rolled out. So that was kind of cool that we had that little bit of influence, I guess, to get them back together.
Yeah, that I remember watching that one.
We keep saying this, that we don't know what we're doing, and it's true. We still don't know what we're doing. I mean, we have an idea what we're doing. We still don't know exactly what we're doing. But I also have the idea that I have the feeling that, little things like that where, and I don't want to, make this come across as egotistical or whatever, but when we make something like that happen, when a band gets to get, that gives me a good feeling, like, okay, we are doing something good here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then walking into, well, a lot of the shows and the bands recognize us and come up to us. I'm sure you guys see that too. When the band comes to you to say hi instead of the other way around, that's kind of nice.
It is.
Like
Yeah.
when was it the
Sorry.
second or third time that we had seen League of Wolves where they greeted us? They actually met us at the door of the exchange.
Yeah. We had come in, and Dylan and Aspen, we walked in, and I think it was only the second time. We had seen them in Saskatoon, and then we came to a show here in Regina. And as we were walking in, we saw them, the group of the band, just kind of standing off, chatting, whatever. We're like, okay, they're here, great. We were going to go find a place to mill around waiting for the show. And Dylan and Aspen actually broke away from the group they were in and came over to greet us. And we thought that was really good because we had only had a bit of an online banter back and forth. And we had a few minutes with Dylan at their merch table at the first show. Just had a couple minutes conversation. So obviously, whatever it was meant something to them that we were there, even at that point.
Yep.
Now, those guys, we've been able to pull fast ones on them a few times. We've shown up at Maple Creek.
Swift Current.
We've shown up in Swift Current. Even being up in Chesterfest this year to see them. Right.
Oh,
you would think that by now they would be looking for us, but we still seem to catch them off guard when we show up. Like, how do you think we're not coming to these? Even if it is like the farther away we have to go, the more fun it is to catch you off guard, thinking that we're not going to be there.
Like surprising Ryan at the Bush show.
Yeah.
He lit up like a frickin' Christmas tree.
Yeah, when in Edmonton, when Whale and the Wolf was played with Bush, them seeing us in the crowds.
I think blew their mind a bit.
Yeah.
But then again, they didn't know the reasons I was like, it's great that you're opening, but I'm actually here for the headliner.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry guys, I love you, but
Yeah. You're not the reason. No, you're not the sole reason I'm here.
yeah.
And if we had stayed for one more night, we would have been able to see Letters from Pluto open for Aqua,
Which Letters from Pluto is another Edmonton.
which would have been a good show too. Letters from Pluto is another Edmonton musician. She's actually, I like a lot of the music that she's got out right now. I haven't seen it. I don't know if she's had anything recent, but no, that would have been fun too if we had planned to stay for the next show, but like the next night of K-Days. But it wasn't in our timeline to be there for an extra night, so.
But if it were in your timeline, would you be there for Aqua?
I would have stayed for Aqua for sure.
That
Really?
was awesome.
Oh yeah, I would have enjoyed that show. I think that would have been fun.
It would have. Okay, so I know Aqua because Eurodance stuff. That's what I grew up on. I probably would have been there just to say that I've seen Aqua again.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not great.
Well, when they were just in Saskatoon a little while ago too, and I wasn't interested in going to see them then. But
Exactly.
It's
one of those. If you're there, meh.
Yeah, had we stayed in Edmonton, I probably would have gone to the show, but I wasn't going to go all the way up to Saskatoon for it.
No.
So.
Yeah, I who was I talking to? Because we were talking about Aqua, and it was also, hey, are you coming? And I'm like, meh. and then I was humming and hawing, and then I heard, oh yeah, they were awesome. It's like, whoa, they were there already? Okay, well, I guess I missed them. Whatever. Yeah.
Oh.
So what other tickets do you have? What shows are coming up?
Well, they just announced Our Hand and Small City Blues
In December.
Mm-hmm.
December, so
So that one, I mean, I will have tickets to that one. But actually, I don't think we've got anything planned.
Not really. Never heard
Um,
anything. Nothing.
Nothing has
I gotta.
come across our
I
radar
got.
yet.
He's not here, so he's not here to tell this himself. But it was actually Joel's doing that Small City Blues was playing with the hour hand.
Nice.
I'm probably gonna cut this out, but, but yeah, there was a group chat going on with the hour hand, and it was something along the lines of, "Hey, it would be cool if Small City Blues would open for us," or something like that. Haha, jokes on you, whatever, whatever. And then Joel goes out to Adam because Adam works for me uh, uh, here and there, and so Joel reached out to Adam and said, "Hey, what are the chances that Small City Blues are getting back together for a show with the Hour Hand?" And Adam was like, I don't know. Let me check with the band." And usually when people say something like that, it's like, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. But then it wasn't very long after. It was like, "Yep, we're in. Sign us up." Oh, okay.
Maybe you should have been
So-
bugging Adam.
I was definitely excited to see that one because I was a little dismayed to see everybody sort of, go off on other directions. And I know that when you talk to Adam and Dalton there, they said that it wasn't over, but it was starting to feel a little final. So
Yep.
I was I was quite happy that one. Small City Blues is always going to have a place in my heart. I've really really enjoyed them and their music, and I
Did their videos?
well, yes,
That is a surprise. But
that was my contribution to the music world, I guess. But
I think you told me about that. What did that happen?
so the very first time we saw Small City Blues, we were there for Port Noise. It was Port Noise.
Okay.
It was finally a Disco Moose album release party. Their second album.
Okay.
And so the very first time we ever saw Small City Blues, we were there, and I was enjoying the show, but I wasn't like overly paying attention. My mind was wandering or whatever. And then they started playing Safer Underground. And I started listening to that, and I remember thinking, wow, this song is really dark. Like the lyrics, like it's a great song, but you start listening to the lyrics, and you're like, this is really dark. Like there's a really dark, foreboding story going on here in this song. And I really liked it. We had a chance to chat with Adam for a little bit afterward, just tell him how much we liked it, and so we ended up getting a copy of the EP, their Cold White Snow EP, and so I was listening to it, and I really really enjoyed Safer Underground and Cold White Snow, those two songs. And the more often I heard them perform it, and the more often I listened to it, that story just sort of germinated in my head and really started to take form. And I've always been a fan of animation. I drew a lot as a child. I still draw a fair bit as an adult. And I wanted to try my hand at animation. So I sat down and I storyboarded and I scripted and I did all of the animation for the story that the song told me in my head. And I did it all together. I spent the better part of, I'd say, 3 months working on it. Just, spare time off and on when I had a chance. And once I was happy with it, I put it all together. I uploaded it to YouTube, not thinking about the algorithm, the copyright algorithm.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, okay, I want to have it up there so that next time I see them, I can show it off. Well, of course, they get a flag saying that this has been posted. I posted it like privately. I didn't even post it as a public video. I just posted it and uploaded it. And like within an hour, I got approved, right? Like they whitelisted it. So I'm like, okay, so that means somebody knows it exists now. Somebody saw this and said, okay, that's fine, go ahead. So I thought, okay, so my surprise has been ruined because I was an idiot and I forgot about them getting a notification of the copyright.
That would have been Dalton, as I
But
remember.
I guess it was Dalton that got the flag, and he just sort of like, oh, okay, somebody, he was just kind of dismissive, like, whatever, I'll let them use it. It's, they're not going to be, militant about it. It's, we'll look at it later. I'm sure it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And once the band had a chance to sit and actually watch the video, they were like, I don't remember what we wrote this song about, because that's now the story that the song is about. Like they were like, I don't remember what it was about, because that story that you put in your video was so much, was so perfect. So
that is awesome.
And
then they gave you.
Then I worked on the follow-up. The two videos tell a story together. For Cold White Snow is the second one. And it sort of continues the story where the first one left off. And that one's got a lot more imagery. And that one was just as much fun to put together. But I gave them a heads up on that one. I said, hey guys, I'm putting up the second one now. Here it is. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So do they consider those as the official music videos now?
Far as I know, yes, they are very satisfied with those. It's their older material anyways. It's not like they're ever going to go back and try and do something on top of. But they definitely really adopted those videos, and I said they're yours. I give them to you freely. This is a fan showing his appreciation for your music. And just wanting to do something, that I enjoy doing for the sake of them. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. So we usually don't talk about jobs, but I have a feeling you have a job in that direction a little bit.
Not even close. I like my job. It's a great job, but it's a sales job. I work for an electrical supply company. I sell light bulbs and wire and breakers. And
I know this. You told me this.
It's so far removed from what my hobbies are and what I enjoy doing that there's like very, very little connect. It's not at all. Which is, I guess, why I enjoy doing these other things, because they're not, work. So
yeah, I know what Betty Jo does for a living, and that also has nothing to do with music industry.
Yeah, we've had that discussion.
Okay, I want to end this episode with something. Usually, we ask a band if we can play some of their music, since you probably don't have your own music.
Nothing you'd want to hear.
I'm gonna pull some strings. Which song do you want this show to end with?
I've got like one song from each band that I'd love to hear.
Yeah.
Throw any hour hand you want in there somewhere. We gotta support the kids. I mean, like I said, we've known them forever, so.
Thanks for hanging out with me. Sorry that Joel couldn't be here, but.
No, it's understandable. Family first. Take care of your own. We'll miss him, but we love the guy. I'm sure he's doing what he needs to do for his family.
He needs to be where he needs to be, and I told him that. I said, you know what, your family comes first every time.
Yep.
So, and we'll meet up again, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we'll be at some next show, and we'll see you again. I didn't even recognize you at the Hour Hand video shoot.
Oh, that was so funny.
So dumb.
I know. I just kept staring at you like, hello.
Well,
I do gotta say that watching Prehistoric Productions in action was a lot of fun. I can't wait to see how that pans out. So
In my defense, it was the hour hand playing their song to the left of me, a fight scene to the right of me, and people playing poker right in front of me. And you were behind that, so sorry.
Excuses, Mark.
Yeah,
Excuses. I'll smack you for it later.
I came and see you.
Yes, you did. Because we knew better.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Again, thank you for hanging out, and I'm sure we'll see each other at the next show that's gonna happen.
I'm ready, sir.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba